A lot of the sentiment online regarding artificial intelligence is pretty bleak. Someone once said, and I don't remember who it is, but just recently said that the internet went from selfies to slop in about 10 years. I saw this on TikTok. And that is because, of course, everybody was taking selfies and taking pictures of their butt. Before that, it was, food porn, people taking pictures of their food and everything like that. And now everything. I mean, I've seen ads for creating your own, basically like OnlyFans or these other kinds of similar ones. I forget what they're called, but where you can basically create accounts for people to whatever they do on OnlyFans. I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to classify it as. I'm not sure what it is. I think peripherally, I've seen some people call it sex working or sex work. So maybe I don't know if there are nudes or if people are is it another porn site? I don't know. I've never bothered to check it out myself. Um, and I don't want to. I don't I don't want to have that as part of uh my history. It's like and I know this is a weird comparison to make that I'm about to say, but just like in the same way I've never watched Game of Thrones, I'm not interested in OnlyFans. So, and I have someone who I adore who really likes Game of Thrones and even said that something that they're writing is Game of Thrones-ish. I've just never brought myself to check it out yet. I'm pretty sure that I would watch Game of Thrones before I go to OnlyFans. All right. So the point is that people are pretty bleak about the state of what's happening to the internet. And actually, because of that, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic about my future online, about building a business, even though there are a lot of challenges that I'm going through, a lot of struggles. There are things, so many obstacles. There are just, it's the work life balance has become really unbalanced in a lot of ways. And I do my best to, like, for example, I go to this really great cafe called Badass Coffee of Hawaii, which is in Virginia Beach. It's on 18th Street and Cypress spelled Cypress, and I go there and work. And I have been really, the staff there is really friendly to me. They've gotten to know me, and it feels really good being there. And so I go there to work and I socialize. I've met a lot of people there, and so it's a way of me doing some work life balance. Although when I go there, I'm mostly working on building my media business and one person enterprise through Uniquilibrium LLC and things like that. And again, it's a struggle. It's tough. This is not. I mean, I'm basically, like, for example, right now it is 12:37 in the morning. I finished doing gig work at 11 p.m. about, and I'm gonna do my best to get to sleep as soon as I can. But you know that lately hasn't been till like, I've been getting to sleep around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then waking up around 10 or 11, sometimes earlier. Sometimes my body wakes me up at 9, and or I'm just particularly motivated about something, and so I get up earlier, and then I'm just working. I'm pretty much just working for 12 to 16 hours, and it's, and I'm attempting to balance the immediate money things that are coming in to the attempting to build the structure for multimedia business. And then, I'm back to doing part-time work, doing security at bars, just at the door, checking IDs and stuff like that. And, whenever I can, I'll also do some art department work and work in special effects and stuff like that that I do from time to time, which I started 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, actually. Actually, since it's 2026, I can safely say 26 years ago. The first music video that I ever worked on was Trina's Pullover, and in the art department as a prop assistant. So I'm just cycling through these things and figuring it out. But what I'm optimistic about, I'm optimistic about hearing the news that a lot of people that I'm seeing, because I wouldn't even be talking about this right now if it didn't crescendo, if it didn't build up to, if there wasn't a compounding effect of me hearing so many people speaking about a lot of doom and gloom about AI and job loss, and the internet is dead, and there's so much AI slop, and AI has gotten a PhD in, making content that is more engaging than human created content, and all this other stuff like that. And I understand where they're coming from. The problem is, for people who would try to, you know engage me with AI slop, is that I've spent at least 10 years studying AI. I've actually hosted a live ongoing artificial intelligence laboratory on my website exercisingyourmind.com, in which, once I quickly identified that authors that were contacting me about my websites and wanting to post guest articles on there, I very quickly identified that they were, in fact, maybe there were humans behind the initial contact, but all of the content that they were writing and that I was publishing on exercisingyourmind.com was generated by AI. And it was very quickly apparent, because these people were sending, I'm an investigator, right? I'm a journalist. I'm an investigative journalist by heart. It's just my nature to research and to look into things. And I'm just skeptical about a lot of stuff. And sometimes I just get feelings about things. Sometimes I don't, but in these particular cases, every single one of these person had their name at some domain, and I would look at their domains, and I very quickly noticed a pattern that all of the domains were very, very similar. And I even I have lists of them on several of my websites, and I have them listed as contributing authors or contributing guest posters and stuff like that. And my whole purpose was, yeah, it looks like it was a multi-purpose project that I did, because one, people were these bots were generating content that was passable on my websites and generating content on there. But two, I was doing things that they didn't ask me to do. Like, for example, instead of me posting the article that was by me, I would post it by whoever the person's name was, and I would highlight their name and hyperlink it back to their site, so that I have records of all of this stuff, so that I could go back in and I can simply click on the author and it will go to their site. And you can see these are all these basically generic AI created websites with these AI generated articles. So I've seen it, I've contributed to it, I'm part of it. And then back in, I think, 2023 or 24, I discovered an AI book generating software, or supposedly they say you can create books with it, but it's not really that good. Um, Called Designer, but it's good for something. Designer is actually really excellent. They have templates and things like that, and they have something built in that allows you to easily publish your books to Kindle direct publishing, and so it has its benefits. But I also tested out the AI engine that they have there, which is called Word Genie. So I've just extensively tested AI. I have an online based just AI lab, and I use multiple AI stacks for various things. Like, I'm really well versed in AI. I've got an AI uh, free certifications from Databricks. I've looked into understanding what a data warehouse is, what a data lake is, and what a data lake house is. Like, I've gone deep into this. And I've seen what it is. I see what it is. I'm very, very adept at identifying when AI is creating certain things that are considered slop. Even AI, when I give it specific prompts to not generate AI slop for certain things, like, for example, I have a process called DTS, Dictation, Transcription, and Summarization. And I take advantage of the fact that artificial intelligence is generally very sycophantic, meaning that it will pretty much agree with all of the things that you say and not try to deviate from it. It just agrees with you, which some people have pointed out as being bad. But in the context and the way that I'm using it, that sycophantism helps keep it human centered, meaning all of the things that I'm speaking, like just like right now, this conversation, this monologue that I'm recording right now to upload to one of my podcasts. I will have the Galaxy AI transcribe it, and it does almost a terrible job. It always gets my name wrong, which it always spells my name incorrectly. It gets a lot of things. It gets a whole lot of stuff wrong. And so, but I will still use that transcription. The summary for Galaxy AI does a lot better, but I've not used the summary for a while, even though the summary does actually actually exemplify what I've actually said somehow, even though it got the main transcription incorrectly. But then what I usually do is I just send that transcript, I copy and paste it to DeepSeek R1 AI, the Chinese AI, which is really good. And I usually don't give it any instructions. And usually what it does is it gives an outline and a breakdown of what was said, and it lays everything out about what was said in the transcript. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll pre-prompt the DeepSeek R1 and say, hey, I'm going to give you this transcript from Galaxy AI. It's pretty bad. Maybe you should check it a little bit. Doesn't necessarily have to be a thorough fact check, but my name is I've put my name instead of the speaker label, just saying speaker one. I've clearly put my name in here as Dr. Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander. So check through the script, make sure that if my name is ever used in there, that it's corrected. Make sure that certain things that I'm saying, like if I talk about hypno athletics, do a search online for that. If I talk about capoeira martial arts, make sure that it's spelled correctly, that it's stylized with the right capitalization. And I'll say, you know, and then do what you will with it. Sometimes I don't say anything at all, free-loading. Sometimes I just copy and paste the transcript, and it usually just does something with it right away. And then I have a pre-written prompt for it to generate metadata. And I say, look, you're a beyond world class metadata specialist. I need you to create the most compelling title, a description, and tags that's not going to be specifically branding to things that I'm saying, but what is going to broadly basically bring people in from a marketing funnel that's going to grab the widest audience, the most people possible that are going to be interested in this kind of content that I'm creating. And that title needs to catch them. The description needs to keep them compelled, and then the tags also for SEO. And so then I have it generate that stuff, and then sometimes an image prompt that I feed to Google Gemini, the Nano Banana, and have it generate an image, and then I I use that to quickly generate that metadata, so then I can quickly post the podcast. But at the center of the podcast, like what you're listening to right now, is my own voice. It's me. It's exactly me. I don't edit it. I don't filter things. I don't cut stuff out. It's just me speaking, stream of consciousness, things that I know, keeping it 100% human. And that is what I'm finding very important. So my point in saying all of that is that this is the way that AI should be used, is to basically help you to be more efficient and to streamline the amplification of your voice, not to write the content itself. And again, this is also one of the reasons why I'm very excited about what's happening, and it's related to a lot of other things, like for example in real estate and other kinds of investing. And I'll get to that in a second. But so what I'm saying here is that, for one, a point that you very clearly need to understand, and you need to look into my DTS method. You can check it out anywhere. It's dictation, transcription, summarization. Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander. I even wrote a book about it. The book is not actually really that well written, but it's good in the fact that it'll show you the exact example and the prompts that I use. So it's really good for that. It shows you basics. I did it really quickly to get it online. I do that a lot. I'm this kind of person that I don't seek perfection. I seek getting stuff done. My friend Donald Dias, who's a guitar player, is like that. Him and I recorded over 200 songs in 8 days that we just improvised in various different parts of LA. And when I talked to him about maybe practicing some of the songs to play them for a show, to have a set, he says, I don't play anything the same thing twice. Same thing with me. It's like I just want to get things created, put it out there, and done. That's why I don't edit. That's why I don't do any of this stuff. And I look at AI, like, for example, what's really great, one person enterprise actually was not even a term. I lucked out getting that domain, one person enterprise. I feel like even Gary Vaynerchuk wanted to get it, and he had to pivot, and he now is coming out with a book that's called Individual Empire, right? But I totally took the name from a World Economic Forum live stream that they were doing on LinkedIn, and they were talking about one person enterprise and how one person using AI is going to be able to build a business, and on and on and on. And I immediately went and got that domain name, one person enterprise, and put all the links to all of my different sites and my podcasts and everything on there. So I took advantage of that. And, I haven't even really scratched the surface with one person enterprise yet. So I did that. and, uh, and so but the way that I look at it, like the one person enterprise idea, the the sycophantism of AI, how it can preserve your own voice, and how it really is to be used to organize your thoughts, to spell check, grammar, punctuation, organize the ideas in a coherent way, and help you generate images if you need them, and get your voice out there. But it's centered around your own human voice, just like how this recording is not going to be changed in any way. It's just all me. And the AI, the one person enterprise link, is that it's acting like assistance, right? Like a person who has resources, like the Gary Vaynerchuk, that I mentioned. He has 2,500 employees. He has people who are recording and documenting his life every day, and then he has people and AI that are taking his content and amplifying its reach and distributing it across various different platforms. Well, I am a one person enterprise. And so what I am doing is I'm using AI as my assistance, not to create the stuff for me, but to assist me in the amplification of my human centered and human generated creations. And so, for example, I just gave you the DTS, the dictation, transcription, summarization method, where I record my voice, have Galaxy AI transcribe it. I used to have it summarize it. I might go back to those summaries as well. Then I feed it to DeepSeek. DeepSeek gives me other kind of summaries and breakdowns, and then I ask it to create the metadata for me, the title, the description, and the tags that are optimized. I tell it you're a beyond world class metadata specialist. You are a master of marketing, advertising, and promotion, and you to get people to take action and buy and all this other stuff like that. And then I maybe have Google Gemini create an image, and then so that's that part there. So I gave you a description about two benefits of using AI. They should be your assistants because they can help you be very efficient in things, just like how any business owner or entrepreneur or head of an enterprise would have people helping him out. That's what the AI should be doing. Let it be sycophants. Let it help you out to amplify your voice. And like I said, I catch the AI sometimes, DeepSeek, doing stuff that I don't that I strictly have written in as a prime directive not to violate, and it does it all the time. But the thing is that I proofread everything, so it can't get away with the AI slop. But there's a signature in AI slop that all of the AI systems do, and it words and phrases things the exact same way, so that when I'm looking at people online and they're talking and they're reading, I catch it every single time, and I can tell exactly because they haven't caught it. They have no idea. I feel like it seems like it's natural to them, but I've researched, been working with, have generated stuff with AI so much that I spot it a mile away. Like, and these people who are being bleak about it, they say, "Oh, it's so good that people aren't like." It's not that serious. But what's great about it here is that one, I can identify it, but two, here's the exciting thing about why I see all this bleak stuff as an advantage for someone like me whose primary output is the spoken and the written word. So here's why that's amazing. So I told you, I said earlier I was going to talk about how this is related to real estate and other kinds of investing. So something that really savvy investors in real estate know is that, for example, when people are selling and buying and fleeing and running because they feel like their house prices are going down and they need to get out of it before the prices drop too low and they fear that they're going to lose too much money or they're going to lose out, that's the time for you to be buying. When people are scared and are selling, you buy. When people are buying a bunch, that's when you sell. You see, you don't do what everybody is doing, and for some reason people still just keep doing it like that, no matter what, no matter how long this information has been out there. Every time people are doing one thing, and like in real estate or other investing, when everybody's selling, you buy. When everybody's buying, you sell. And so the same thing applies here. Everybody's all fear mongering and talking about that, the internet is going to be full of AI slop and people aren't going to be able to tell the difference and so on and so forth. Well, I've already made the difference. I'm flooding the internet with my voice and my words, my content originally generated for me. In the past couple of days, I've put out completely genuine, completely original content because of the fact that I talk so much, because of the fact that I'm thinking so much about so many and various different subjects, that I'm able to find pieces and string things together in ways that the AI can never figure out. And I'm ahead of the game in so many different things because I'm dialed into spirituality, to science, and to philosophy. And I've got my boots on the ground. I'm doing gig work. I'm working security. I'm going to cafes. I'm practicing martial arts. I'm composing music. I'm keeping my life full of activity. I'm not just sitting at home. I'm out most of the day, around people, talking to people, engaging with people, training like it's amazing because I'm doing so much every single day that I think that it might baffle people the fact that I'm doing all of this. Like in one day, literally, I will practice martial arts for an hour, play my guitar for at least an hour, sometimes several hours, and still research, learn, write, podcast, like all this stuff like that, and still have time to create because I found a way to multitask that works for me. Now, I get it. I don't have a regular job like that, but that's how I've designed my life. I started being like this way back right when I graduated from high school. As soon as I got out of high school, I started working in film and TV. I was just off the heels of being in a death metal band and started creating my own bands, and then I was creating my own music. I went down to Miami. I was working on film and TV. I learned about being an independent contractor or a freelancer very early on, right after I got out of high school. So before I even started taking any college courses or doing community college, or way before I went and got a degree in clinical hypnosis, I had already been in the world of being a freelancer, a solopreneur, um, an independent contractor, a sole proprietor, blah blah blah, all that, just operating by myself and being self-employed. So I was used to it, and so now I've just I've held on to that, and I have a few things that I've done that I've always done that I've been able to move around from if one wasn't if I wasn't busy or employed doing one of them, I can switch to the other one. So it would either be teaching, working in the fitness industry, which encompasses either being a personal trainer, a group fitness instructor, or a self-defense or martial arts instructor one-on-one or in groups as well. The other thing is working in film and TV, in production, in the art department, or in special effects. And then the other one, working security at bars and nightclubs. And now, since starting back in 2016, I just for a couple months, I started doing Uber. So I learned a little bit about gig work back then, but then I went to China and I was teaching English and martial arts and yoga out there. And then I came back to the United States and then I started working at a front desk of a gym again, started working as a personal trainer, group fitness instructor, then started teaching at renting a space out of a place called Powerhouse Boxing and Kickboxing, started with my own students there, but then left and then got heavy into security, working at Central 111 and the Green Parrot, and well, in the other order, Green Parrot first, then Central 111. So, and then I got a car, started doing Uber again, a little bit of DoorDash, and then got deactivated from Uber and just decided to stop doing DoorDash and strictly started doing Instacart because it's actually much better than both of those. And so now I cycle between doing those things and writing books, creating podcasts, practicing martial art, building up my own martial arts organization again, and really figuring out how I'm dialing this in. But okay, so I've talked about all of that just to let people know. Look, I mean, you can be. I just have a lot of energy, and one of the main reasons is because of my bread and butter. The core thing that I've always stayed true to my foundation is healthy living and self-defense. So my three M's have always been music, martial arts, metaphysics. And metaphysics, I mentioned earlier, is my research, study, and application of, of philosophy, science, and spirituality. And music, self-explanatory. I write lyrics, I sing, I play instruments, I compose, I record, I publish it, I dance, and that leads into martial arts, dance, fight, game. I have a base of capoeira with a philosophy from Miyamoto Musashi and Bruce Lee, with integrations from boxing, freestyle wrestling, judo, and Muay Thai and various other disciplines, different things that I picked up here and there, but then I've just kind of honed in for my own martial arts. So that's it. But within all of that is healthy living and self defense. When I went online 20 years ago with hypnoathletics, or actually eym.hypnoathletics.com, a subdomain of hypnoathletics, which you can still get to by typing in hypnoathletics.com. But the EYM stands for exercising your mind, which was the second website I went online with in 2007, exercisingyourmind.com. And I mentioned earlier about being part of my laboratory with AI. But my whole mission statement was hypnoathletics is exercising your mind towards universal harmony and spiritual wisdom through healthy living and self-defense, and that holds true. Exercisingyourmind.com was wealth attraction research. Great health is the truest of all wealth. I stand by that. That is the foundation of all of this. I also understand that healthy living in general is a form of self-defense. And but again, so let's get back to what I was talking about pertaining to the idea that, and Earl Nightingale in his 1956 recording, The Strangest Secret, said this as well. He says, look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. You know, when salesmen are gathering around the water cooler at a car dealership to just talk crap, you know, you go out and make the phone calls or meet the people and do the work that you need to do to sell the cars. Like he's like the opposite of courage is not cowardice, it's conformity. People acting like everyone else without knowing why or without knowing where they're going, right? So if you want to be successful, look at what other people are doing and do the opposite. And that's why I've been so successful in my life with my media publication and my multimedia creation on my own terms. Like why do I have a website that's been online for 20 years and nobody tells me anything about it? Like nobody can tell me what to do. They can make suggestions, they can make criticisms, they can laugh at it, they can say whatever, but it's been online for 20 years because I've done that my own way. I control my multimedia empire. Nobody can tell me shit because I've done that. And there's hardly any individual out there who can say that they've had their own websites online, their own blogs. They've been writing, they've been contributing, they've been creating, they've been doing things for 20 years. So that's one thing that I know for sure, right? And 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 by doing that, I continue to learn more and get better and better, and I'm able to do whatever I want with it to learn and create. And so it's gotten to this point right now where you have people fear mongering about AI, but it's because people are using AI in a certain way and they're following the trends, and I'm telling you, people are doing it all wrong. The dictation, transcription, summarization is one of the best ways that you can use AI and benefit from the sycophantic nature of AI to preserve your own voice, to keep it human centered. And the spoken and written word, especially when you are actually speaking your content into existence when you record your voice. And I would even recommend doing it the way that I have, but I've spent a lot of years learning by reading, by speaking to people, by being engaging, by getting in front of groups and crowds and learning how to speak the way that I am now, which is stream of consciousness. And it may not be completely perfect, but it is a coherent type of rambling because I'm keeping it on point, on subject, and everything is related. I've learned more and more how to do that. You can even go back to my earlier podcast and see exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why you do something like this. That's why you keep on going and you don't listen to the naysayers, because it's a form of practice. Online is a platform, and I've started, it's just like how you would do anything else. You start a job, you're awkward at first, you don't know the steps, you don't know the ropes, and as you go along you practice makes better. It doesn't make perfect, you just keep on getting better. There's always room for improvement. And so here's the reason why this is so much better, and why I'm really excited about this, because while everybody's crying about AI and they're talking about how people aren't going to be able to know the difference, you will know the difference. What I'm doing right now stands out amongst all that other crap, like all that AI generated slop. The only other thing that you're going to be able to rely on are the people that are already online that you've trusted. And when you start seeing, for example, the what they call video podcast, right? Because you can actually see those people. And if you've already built up a relationship, a parasocial relationship with those people who do these big podcasts, like, the Joe Rogans and the Stephen Bartletts and even like Stone Cold Steve Austin, I've seen this stuff, but people that right, already, that are online, that sit down and basically, I don't know why they call them video podcasts. It's kind of dumb to me. They're talk shows. And even that's the whole plan, that when Google took over YouTube years ago, that's always been the plan. That's why you can hardly go to any channel right now, even if the person didn't monetize like me, even if I didn't monetize and I'm not earning money from the ads on there, you'll see ads, because that was the whole point in the first place, to get people used to going to YouTube to be able to consume content, and then they throw the ads in. It's the same formula that's always been there, way since the beginning. Since when the printing press came out and books started being printed and the magazines, what started happening? Advertisements got inserted into the books and inserted into the newspapers and inserted into the magazines. And then when radio came on, radio people were listening to music and everything for free, and then advertisers got inserted into the radio, in between the talk shows, in between the music. Television, same thing. Commercials, cable television, for but what was that all about? You could buy cable television, and so that you wouldn't have to put up with commercials, so that you could watch your movies uninterrupted by ads. But now, but then that was product placement, right? Then you were being advertised to and you didn't even know it, because people were showing off the product labels, because they were getting, the people who made the movies, the producers, they were getting money for that. And now you have this whole mix and blend of all of this, like this hybrid of this. Like you can get, like, for example, you can get Hulu or various different channels, Disney Plus, all this other stuff like that. Certain ones, like one of my iPhone, for example, runs on Cricket, while my Galaxy phone runs on AT&T, a business plan, right? And Cricket, they give you HBO Max free with ads, right? And so, and I have the option, if I want to, I can upgrade and get it without the ads, but I don't care because I'm not that interested in consuming. It's the reason why I don't have Netflix. I don't have any of the other ones. I'll do like some stuff every once in a while if I wanted to binge watch like Marvel or whatever. But but the point is, you see what's happening, right? That's the whole point. Now you have all this content that you might want to go consume, but everybody's hawking something on there. Everything is got ads on it. Like even look, I I take advantage of it myself. Even this content right now that's going to go on my podcast, Spreaker, the main podcasting the software that I use, and where it mainly publishes to Spreaker's site, well, my podcast. There's an ad share uh, system that I generate revenue from. So I just turn it on and automatically let it embed ads in there. And if people don't want the ads, they can pay $30 a month to get it off there. Yes, I said that. Like I don't none of my podcast the supporters club is set to anything less than $30 a month. And so that prices out. Most people aren't going to pay that. So you're going to either not listen to me or you're going to have to deal with the ads. That's it. That's the only option that you have. And then some of my podcasts, like my binaural beats, which they're based on binaural beats, but they're what I call demi-cerebral neural phasing or demi-phase audio, are locked behind the paywall completely. There's none. You can't listen to that stuff. My solfeggio on the seas unless you pay $30 a month for it. I've had other people who got grandfathered in who are paying like $9 or something like that a month or $6.99. I forget what it was before, but all of them are at $30 a month because one of them, which is called Sword Paper, the podcast, which goes is part of my Sword Paper Ministries and my monastery and my nonprofit organization that's starting, is everything that goes on there is going to be behind a $30 paywall unless it's something telling you what you're going to get, like a taste of something like that. But that's the only options in that we have now. Like as a creator, I'm going to do that, and I've been doing this, like I said, over it's been over 20 years. It's been way before that, but the reason why I'm excited, getting back to this point here again, is because, and like I was saying, you you're going to know I'm not using 11 labs. I'm not cloning my voice. I'm not going to do that. I think that's, look, for me it's BS. I don't care for it because I can speak for hours and days at a time. I don't need to have anything speak for me. I can do it while I'm driving. I can do it while I'm getting other things done. And that right there is valuable. A real human voice who has a real human experience that is not like look, almost everything is derivative. And that's what AI does. It derives things, it crawls, it scrapes, it synthesizes. But I'm doing my own synthesis from all of the things that I'm learning. And then I'm talking to you about it, and that is what's making what I'm doing so valuable. So I'm not scared about getting lost in a sea of AI slop because I am able to crank out all kinds of, like, there's sometimes I've been able to put out like 10 podcasts a day. Right now I'm doing any between 1 and 3. I can crank it up to more. It just depends on how I feel. This is one of them, right? Because I can record while I'm doing other things. I can record while I drive. As soon as I get inspiration for something, I just turn on the microphone and I start talking about it, and that's it. And then I have the AI act as my assistants, and they're all free ones I'm using because I paid for the Google Gemini service before, and it was okay for certain things. And I had it generate, I forget what those things were called, audio overviews. I had it generate PDFs and things like that, and I have a whole PDF library on worldreadingclub.com where some of them were integrated or generated by AI, some of them were written by me. I got tons of that on there, and so, but again, I'm not concerned because one thing that you'll know from me is that I'm not going to let AI speak for me. I'm not. This is always going to be my voice. That's going to be a very important thing that I'm going to hold on to. So unless they destroy my voice somehow, then I'm going to keep on doing. And if my voice gets destroyed, then I'm going to write. And if I can't write or speak, then I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe then I'm just gonna have people take videos of me doing martial arts. You know, but that's it. And that's another thing too, is I just, when I go to the gym and I hit the heavy bag or I go to the park, I take videos of myself and then sometimes I just speak again, stream of consciousness over it. And that's it. Like that's the whole unique thing about what I'm creating. And love it, hate it, ignore it, it is what it is. Like I I'm creating on my own terms. Nobody can take that away from me. But the great thing now, here's another little a few gold nuggets that I've talked about before. And let's see, we're 40 minutes into this one here. And here's a few golden nuggets here, though. So I talked about Gary Vaynerchuk. There's another guy, Chris Do, and both of them talk about personal branding. And I've unlocked a code of personal branding for myself that's really working well because I've seen the results of it. And so basically, all personal branding is the process of amplifying your presence so that as many people can get to know you as possible. So I'm not being anything else except for me. I'm not performing. I'm simply speaking about what I'm doing. I'm talking to you right now about what I learned about personal branding. So I'm just speaking about what's happening in my life. But I'm not talking to you about personal branding for the sake of personal branding, right? What I'm doing right now has the intention of, hey, this is how this person Hakeem sounds. These are the things that he talks about, that he gets excited about. But what is he actually doing? I've talked about it already. My core is healthy living and self-defense. And healthy living is a form of self-defense. And one of the prime ways to focus on healthy living is a process of elimination, which is the definition of clean living, which means that you seek out the foods and the things that you put in your body that have the least amount of additives in it, like raw, whole, clean foods that, your peanut butter should just have peanuts in it and maybe sea salt, right? Not maltodextrin, sugar, salt, blah blah blah, like all these other ingredients. That's dirt. That's crap. That's garbage, right? So clean living, healthy living, and that's a form of self-defense. But so is martial arts and learning how to use weapons and situational awareness and learning about the Institute of Metaphysical Hypnosis, right? Which I've linked I've understood that most of what people talk about in metaphysics and consciousness is all the same thing. My acronym is PITCH. Programming, influencing, training, conditioning, and hypnosis are all the same thing. People will argue against it. The process that I'm using here when I'm talking, which is also another simultaneous layer on what I do, is called PACTS, which is personally attuned conversational transformation sessions, also publicly attuned conversational transformation sessions, because there are people who I talk to one on one, and this is a public and a published piece of content that's going to go out. And so now here's the other thing. So about the personal branding, here's how I know that this is working. So one, I lucked out and picked the right platform, Spreaker. Spreaker's content management and content distribution system is excellent. When I publish this recording, just like when I publish all my other recordings, because I have the all of the distribution turned on, this is going to be published to Amazon's Audible. It's going to be published to Apple's podcast. It's going to be published to YouTube, and it's going to be published to iHeart and Spotify, right? And those are all podcasting, right? So the other podcasting ones off the top of my head that I know are Castbox, that it's going to go to. It's going to go to Podchaser, which is a podcast. What do you call that? Like a listing, um, a podcast curation. Yeah, it's a podcast curation site. So Castbox, Podchaser. I know it goes to GeoSavan, which is an Indian podcasting service, and like a couple other ones aren't coming to my mind right now. There's a few other ones, right? And then not only that, so I named five big platforms, right? Amazon, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, right? And then three other podcasting, GeoShavan, Castbox, Podchaser. That's 8 right there, right? And then it also automatically publishes to Facebook and X. So that's 10 places at least just from Spreaker alone that I know. And there's a couple, like 2 or 3 more that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head right now that I know that it goes out to, right? So there's all of that distribution that's happening, plus it's on Spreaker itself, right? And so what happens is when I look at the various different platforms, basically I'm getting tens of thousands of downloads, like hundreds of listens and downloads, and I'm getting notifications all the time that your podcast has reached 1,000 downloads, 2,000 downloads on this one, that da da da, right? So even though it, like, you might look on YouTube and you'll see like 1 or 2 plays here and there, 12 plays on this one, 1,000 plays on that video, da 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 da, but the cumulative effect, right? This is what I'm getting at, which is similar to when you hear people say, across all platforms, I have 43 million followers, right? Well, it's the same thing here. Across all these different platforms, I'm getting hundreds of thousands of streams and downloads, right? And that's what I'm doing just by speaking. So I'm automatically getting distributed from this one place, and then it's being listened to by various different people. So you might look at on YouTube when they get uploaded there and be like, oh, there's not that much. He doesn't have that many followers. He doesn't have that many listens. People aren't watching the videos. But the cumulative effect, because I also sometimes post on TikTok. I also post on Instagram, and usually I post on there first because I have it set up so that it automatically posts on Facebook. And sometimes I'll post on LinkedIn. So even though I don't have the crazy system and the team working like Gary Vaynerchuk does, or even Chris Do maybe, or many other people, I'm taking advantage of what I do have and what I can do, which I can speak my content into existence. And I can speak a lot of content into existence. And so, and I can do it every single day very easily by amplifying my reach, by having the AI create the titles, the descriptions, and the tags, which, by the way, I also learned that the way that the the titles, descriptions, and tags are being generated are in a format that AI systems crawl and will index and easily pick up. So now I'm searchable on all the various different AI systems, and all I have to do is start tweaking my content a little bit more, the titles and things like that, so that people can find me locally more in Virginia Beach. And I've done that with a lot of content. Like, for example, if you look up the Healthy Living Expo in Virginia Beach, which is coming to Virginia Beach May 2nd and May 3rd, a whole bunch of my content is out there about it because I've created content about the Healthy Living Expo in Virginia Beach and mass. Like, I've done like maybe half a dozen, maybe up to 10 podcasts about it. I don't even know. And I'll be creating some more. And I've just recently put up a post on Instagram, on on Facebook, on TikTok, and on LinkedIn about the Healthy Living Expo. And I'm going to keep following up on those things. And I've been telling people live out in public when I'm out, like, I'm a flurry of activity, and I'm not going to quit. Like, there's no reason to, because, and there's no reason to just think that you should just rely on just thinking that you should. I mean, you can, but that you can just completely create things on the internet and just make your business built on that. You can. People are doing it with AI. They're doing a cash grab with all of the stuff there's a whole bunch of it going on. I'm just asserting and stating here that the way that I am standing out is that I understand how to use AI in a certain way. I'm using it in a certain way, but I'm remaining at the center of the creation. Just basically, I'm doing what a lot of the huge podcasters and speakers are doing, and I'm remaining human at the center of it. Like I mentioned, like Joe Rogan, Steve Bartlett. I don't know why other people aren't coming to my mind right now, but there's the one who's really hilarious but does some really interesting stuff called Math. And some of these guys might fit into what's called the red pill movement or whatever it is, but I still find some of them interesting, even though I don't totally agree with everything. I'm also far from a feminist. I'm nothing like that. Um, but but I tend to, and I'm also not a people pleaser, so I don't really actually give a shit that people like some of the stuff that I do or not. And when I say that, I must qualify this. Like, I actually care what people think and I care what they say. It's just not going to stop me from doing what I do and saying what I say. There's no reason for me to do that. No one's ever given me any incentive to not be who I am. I've been online for 20 years. I've been practicing martial arts for over 30 years. I've been making music for over 30. Why? What do you? What? You can't. There's no. So I don't even know what to say about that. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. There's nothing. I can't be stopped. I'm just gonna have to die, right? That's the only way that anything that I'm doing is gonna stop. Is I'm gonna die or my body's gonna break completely because I'm just doing what I do. Like, I have so much energy, so much vitality, so much enthusiasm, so much ambition that there's no reason to. And so, and I think, and this might take a slight pivot onto what I've been saying here, but being well rounded is very important, you know, and I'm using these labels just to distinguish, I'm not making some bold claims about myself, but I fit into the category of being an academic and an intellectual, so a thinker, because of my study, research, and application of philosophy, science, and spirituality. I'm an artist, mostly in music, where I write lyrics, I sing, I compose music, I play instruments, I perform, I record, and I publish it. And I also dance. And then I also practice martial arts, mainly based on capoeira with a philosophy from Miyamoto Musashi and Bruce Lee, integrated with boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, judo, and submission wrestling, right? And so I do all of these things and I'm interested in these things. And being interested is interesting. And there are a lot of people who are interested in me. People come up to me all the time, every single day, without me even trying. I don't try to talk to people. People comment, talk to me, ask me questions. I wear my own branded shirts that either say World Reading Club on the back of them, or Capagetta, or Uniquilibrium, or something like that with my HA logo that's all over my podcast and my websites. I have something that people could even be called a gimmick or peacocking, but it's just natural to me. I have a wallet that I wear around my neck that has a thick stainless steel chain on a leather wallet with an ID panel, a window in the front of it with my passport card inside of it. My belt is literally another thicker, heavier, much heavier gauge stainless steel chain with a clip that I wear on my waist and clip my car fob, key fob to it. And then I have two smaller chain link stainless steel uh, chains around my wrist those are my accessories. And then I have a braided cord, either a red, white, and blue one or a black and gold one that I wear. And it just so there's no way, like, I just and and I do that. It was never a gimmick. Like, the ropes, the braided cord was a statement against the a bunch of the BS that I found in capoeira. The chains originally were because the nylon cord that came with the ID wallet with the window on the front of it was because I was going to live in China for a few years, and the nylon cord on it, I thought it first of all looked stupid and it felt uncomfortable. So I got a chain from Home Depot and I cut it the right length and put it on there and I wore it and it just became my thing. And then I got a belt and bracelets to match. And that's it, and that's my thing, and I just actually like it. It's completely unique, my own style. And the rope was my blasphemy against certain things that I didn't like in capoeira. And and that's it. And I didn't really even have to try. But because I'm interested in a lot of things, because I'm well rounded naturally, that makes me naturally compelling to people. I've never really even said so much before, but I'm building up to saying it more and more, because I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or pump myself up. I don't need to. And this is the message that I'm attempting to convey to a lot of people, especially when it comes to, and this is where I integrate sort of in the red pill movement, but I also deviate greatly from it in a lot of ways, because a lot of the stuff that the red pill movement brings about and I've learned and I've seen a little bit of it. It comes from like the whole pickup artist movement, and it's a lot of like doing certain things to be manipulative on the surface, and it also playing into like the crazy feminist movements that's happened, and how women are looking for like the 666, like a person who's 6 foot tall, makes six figures, and has at least a 6 inch long penis, like this kind of nonsense, right? And and so like the kind of ridiculous standards that women are just basically pricing themselves out of the market, for lack of a better term. And then there's a bunch of guys who are like, there's either incels or just, you know, people who just can't, men who just can't seem to hook up or find girlfriends or get married for whatever reason, because of the whole 6 6 thing, feminist thing. But I'm here to say all you need to do is actually be well rounded. All of this other stuff that people are doing, all this fake bullshit, is a waste of fucking time. It's nonsense. Like, read a bunch of books about stuff that you're interested in and write some essays on them, or some short essays, or a quick blog about it. You can write a few sentences about it, right? And like, study, practice, and teach. Study, adopt it, practice it, adapt it, share it, teach it with other people. That's my another acronym, SAPAST, SAPAST, right? You can look up that again. I've published about that tons of times before. But it's important. It's absolutely necessary for you to have an intellectual and or academic pursuit of some kind. It does not mean you need to have a degree. It does not mean you have to go to a school for it, but you should open up a fucking book and read it, and then write your own ideas about it in a journal, and then maybe share it with a few people. Maybe make some photocopies of it and hand it out to your friends and your family, or to some strangers, and let them know that it's you that wrote it. Put your name on it, sign it. Maybe write a blog about it. Maybe talk about a podcast about it. But do something with your brain. Talking, like, if you're a mechanic, read about mechanic stuff and write about it. If you're a musician, read about musician stuff and write about it and share it and talk about it. Maybe make videos about it. I'm not all about the video stuff that much, but you see what I'm saying? Like, everything that you do has an industry, and has books and research and literature and documentation about it that you can be a part of, right? And so that I call that metaphysics, right? Philosophy, science, spirituality. Study that stuff. That's what I'm talking. That's what I do. So there's my template. If you're looking for something, if you don't know what direction to go in, start with science, spirituality, and philosophy. Even just start looking into what those things are. What is science? What is the scientific method? What is spirituality? Is it religion, or is it more than that? What is philosophy? What does that mean? Right? And maybe just look at what the words mean. Science means knowing, right? Uh, Spirituality means having to do basically with those things beyond the body, right? And then what is philosophy? The love of wisdom. So science and philosophy are very closely related, but so is spirituality. I mean, that's why I classified under metaphysics. My acronym for META, META, is mathematical, experimental, theoretical, and applied physics. All right, moving on. Music. That's my other M, right? Metaphysics, now music. Now, you don't have to be into music. Maybe you're a painter. Maybe you draw with pencil. Maybe you are a sculptor. Maybe you build circuits. Maybe, whatever, a skill, an artistry, something that you do that is part of the liberal arts. Something, do that, or find something to do. Find an instrument to play. Get some drumsticks. Get a guitar. Get a ukulele. Get a clarinet. Get a saxophone. You can go to pawn shops and find instruments. Get a harmonica. Get a get a small Casio keyboard from a shop and carry it around in your car. Get a tongue drum. Get a fife. Get a ocarina. I don't care what it is. Find something and develop a skill, and just do it a little bit all the time, every single day. And then do something with your body. Walk, climb, jump, run, flip, kick, spin, I recommend practicing martial arts. I double recommend finding a capoeira group and playing capoeira, even though I disagree with most of the colonized bullshit that a lot of contemporary capoeira has become. It's still one of the best things that you actually can do. See all that shit that I just said? I don't like a lot about stuff about capoeira, but I really believe that it's one of the best activities that people can do in the fucking world. Like you can go to capoeira groups and all the stuff that you will learn. You learn a different language. You learn Brazilian Portuguese. You learn about African history. You learn African instruments. You learn how to sing songs, play instruments, do a little dance, kick a little ass, and get some exercise, right? And be part of a community, most important of all. Be part of a community. And so that's what it means to be well rounded. Do those things. Stop sitting around playing video games all day. Stop binge watching all the stuff on all these different streaming services all the time. Stop doom scrolling. Get with your people, right? Or solo practice. I'm by myself most of the time. I go out to the park and I jump, flip, spin, kick, climb, crawl, squat, run, like whatever, and do that stuff by myself. Don't wait for anybody else. That's the other thing. Don't wait for anybody else, and don't wait for anybody else's permission. Damned if you do or damned if you don't. People are going to love you or hate you whether you sit around, play video games, or whether you get your ass into gear and do something. It doesn't matter. Do something. Be actually well rounded, and then you don't have to do no pickup crap or rel pill whatever or deal with crazy feminist stuff. It doesn't matter, because here's the thing: if you really are an intellectual academic, if you really have artistic skill and talent, and you really are physically fit and confident and can defend yourself and are bold and masculine enough, just because of the fact that you are interesting, because you are interested and curious about things and you practice them and do them every day. If somebody doesn't like you for that, they're fucking crazy. You don't want those people anyway. You don't want those people anyway. I've started to notice too, there are people who won't even look me in the eye, who, like, if when they find out that I have that I'm a master hypnotist, that I have degrees in clinical hypnosis from America's first nationally accredited college of hypnosis, the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, that you can find at hypnosis.edu. I'm not affiliated with them. I make no money from them. I'm just proud that I went to that school, one of the best schools for clinical hypnosis in the world, that taught me to have a scope of practice of vocational and avocational motivation and self-improvement. Once again, they have free courses. Check them out online. Hypnosis.edu, recognized by the United States Department of Education. When they find out that I have a PhD in metaphysical sciences from a leftist field school that is not part of the mainstream school system, but is like a mystery school that teaches you about angels and aliens and witchcraft and world religion and comparative religion and spirituality and meditation and yoga and hypnosis and all that stuff, paranormal, supernatural. Basically, I went to Hogwarts Plus, right? In the real world, but I did it all online. And people get viscerally, physically intimidated when they feel like you're smarter than them, when they feel like you can intellectually outpace them, in the same way that when they look at somebody who is fit and strong and lean and can also kick their ass, like with martial arts or something like that, or is adept with weapons and guns and things like that, people get afraid of it. There's people who won't look me in my eye. That doesn't matter. Those people who are either jealous or avoid you because you make them feel insecure or inadequate, that is not your problem. Your problem is to, like Gandhi said, maybe he didn't live up to everything that standards people find out, but all of our heroes are starting to fall. I actually wrote a book called Olympus Has Fallen, and another one called um, Down the Rabbit Hole, Olympus Has Fallen, based on original 7 or to 9 blogs that I published on my website back in 2013 on hypnoathletics.com, but about this whole thing. And it started to happen. Um, all of these people on the Epstein files, a whole bunch of people like Oprah and all these other celebrities that people were worshiping online, were starting to find out all this dirty, grimy shit about them, right? Olympus Has Fallen. I wrote about it back in 2013 because a movie came out and had that title, and it struck a chord with me about what that meant in a broader context, rather than all the other conspiracy theory stuff that I'm not even going to get into right now. But again, my other major point, besides the fact that what the point that I made about, like, going in the opposite direction, not being part of the fear mongering about AI and like how people think the internet is dead and it's gonna be taken over by AI. Like I have a simple solution: record your voice and speak. Do you know all this? Here's what's so crazy: a podcast like mine that is going to be published onto YouTube is the very definition of a faceless YouTube channel. That's it. Like some of my stuff is, has my face on it. I don't like it that much, but most of it also is just me kicking and flipping and hitting the heavy bag. And that's pretty much going to be the backdrop for almost all my videos coming up. It's either going to be a faceless YouTube because they're going to be these recordings that are automatically published on YouTube because I have my podcast now connected to YouTube, or they're going to be videos of me training with me speaking over it. That's it. I'm telling you right now what I'm doing because I've already started doing it. Right. So there's just a bunch of videos of me punching and kicking the shit out of a heavy bag or flipping around in a park or somewhere or with some friends. Right. And I'm just going to start speaking over it. That's it. That's simple for me. That's a faceless YouTube channel. Although you'll be able to see my face and maybe a bunch of other people's faces on there, but it's not going to be the main thing. You're just going to be able to see me doing capoeira, practicing capoeira, or doing something else martial artsy, and speaking about it. Or it might be me speaking about that event or something else completely unrelated. Which is like I have all these videos with me hitting the heavy bag, and I'm going to be speaking over them that has almost nothing to do directly with me hitting the heavy bag. Because I want to, because it's simple, because it's easy, because it's accessible to me right now. I'm a one person enterprise. What you want me to do? I'm not competing with the big boys because I don't want to do what people are doing to compete by generating a bunch of AI video and stuff like that and doing all that stuff. Maybe later at some point in time when it's been perfected and you can figure something else out, maybe like I'll do a bunch of mocap stuff, like, which is motion capture, like how they make video games and things like that, which would be really cool if I can base it off my own movements and have more control over it. But for now, I'm not there yet. I'm gonna let it develop a little bit. But right now, it's gonna be. I want you're gonna see me jumping and kicking around a real human being. You're gonna hear my real human being voice. So here are the things to take away from this. Right? There's a lot. I've definitely packed a lot in this hour and 6 minutes, which may turn into an hour and 10 or 20 minutes. Right? But here are the things. There's a lot of fear mongering about the internet being dead and AI is going to take over everything, and you're not going to be able to tell what is AI and what is human because supposedly the AI can create more compelling content than a human could. I call BS on that, and I think I'm going to be right about this because people are going to start to get tired of it. A lot of people are. Plus, I'm becoming a very strong and powerful voice in it because I got boots on the ground and I'm talking to people, and this message is going to be being spread, and my real voice is continually going to be on that, and that's something that people are going to find refreshing. My coherent babbling, my coherent rambling, they're going to find that very refreshing. I'm predicting that. I know that's true. I already got it. Also, because objectively, why do I have hundreds of thousands of downloads all the time? Why am I continuing to get notifications that either people are reading your work or you've got 1,000 downloads or congratulations, you've published this many episodes of this, right? And just coming out of the blue, just being surprised about stuff. And then things that I've tested, like different videos and things like that that are getting thousands of views. Like, and again, it may not be in the millions. They're not what people would consider to be viral, but I have a cumulative presence online. And now it's starting to get even more incredibly focused locally. And that is another thing, something I learned from Dan Kennedy, and but it's a nice, really cool, not really a secret, but it's that building of a local popularity that then develops into local celebrity that then starts to become regional, national, and global, which I already have a global reach, right? And then turns into celebrity and fame, but for a purpose. For a purpose. And the purpose, going back to the personal branding idea, of what Chris Do emphasizes, is that you're documenting your personal development journey and sharing it with others so that they can then develop themselves as well. So basically, you're being the change that you want to see in the world, and you're doing it without, you don't have to perform. There's no need to perform. Just document your life. And now this also lends itself to what I was talking about as well, about being well rounded. When you really actually are interested in studying things like science, philosophy, and spirituality, and you get good at it, and you can speak about it, and you can articulate it and share it in a non intrusive, non zealot type of way to people, and not step on people and be too crazily political about the stuff, and just really share passionately your ideas by first, internalizing it, right? You study it, you adopt, internalizing it, you practice it, you start to apply it to yourself, you adapt, right? Now you are turning it into a way that is uniquely your own, and how you've, and from the results that you've seen when you've applied it to your life, and then you share slash teach, sapast, right? And now that you can do with science, philosophy, spirituality, and with music or some other type of talent or skill, right? Some other type of artistry, and with martial arts and physical fitness. And you be well rounded. You're not just the nerd geek, or the jock, or the I don't know, the star, the rock star, or the artist, right? You're not the starving artist, right? So what are those three things, right? You're not just the nerd geek intellectual academic, or the starving but talented artist, or just the jock, musclehead, meathead, or whatever they're calling people these days. You can be a combination of all of those, and uniquely you, but actually be interested in these things, and then be genuinely interesting to other people, because those things are actually important. Those things are actually contributing to society and the world. When you make yourself better, right? Documenting your personal development, when you're actually really good at these things and you come up with new ideas, or you're contributing your thoughts to the world in science, spirituality, and philosophy, when you're contributing your artistry to the world, whether it's painting, drawing, sculpting, dancing, creating music, singing, writing lyrics, poems, all of that stuff, right? You're adding to the aesthetics of the world. And when you're taking care of your physical body, you're paying attention to the food that you're putting in your body. You're getting great movement, managing your mobility, exercising, learning self-defense, martial arts, becoming more confident. These are actually really valuable, real things that you can do. You can do it now. And that is real, right? And so if somebody doesn't like that, forget them. That doesn't matter. Just be who you are, doing cool stuff, and you don't have to fake it. You don't have to get the surgeries and looks maxing and makeup, and this doesn't just go for the men out there, for women too. Like, just be well rounded. Like, there's no reason. Like, the problem is that people are just misallocating their resources. Like, if you're sitting around for hours, look, video games are cool, but just like everything else, limit it. I'm not saying stop doing those things. Those things are fun. Like, I don't play a lot of video games just because my life is a video game. Like, just being able to jump and kick and crawl and squat and climb and all this other stuff like that, that's fun to me, right? So, but every once in a while I might get lost for a couple hours in Grand Theft Auto because of that free form playing. Like, if I had Grand Theft Auto, if I had a system that had it on there, I might get lost every once in a while inside of it, right? But um but I don't. I have a bunch of Pokemon cards I haven't really looked that deeply into, but I'm gonna check them out just because it's interesting. There's a lot of stuff, right? But all that time that people spend doing that stuff, you can just schedule things, and you can schedule, like, I watch movies, I go to the movies, I go to events, I go to farmers markets, I sit at cafes, and sometimes just I don't do anything except look at people. Like, sometimes I just sit out in the sun. Sometimes I don't have my guitar, I don't have a book. I just look at people. Sometimes I just walk. Sometimes I just ride my bike. Sometimes I just drive. Like, sometimes, but you just do things, observe, live your life, Stop waiting for retirement or till you get rich. Like a lot of the stuff that people are waiting to do when they get rich, you can be doing right now. You can live a life like a billionaire by engaging in exciting and interesting activities. Period. Period. Again, from my own perspective, if I wanted to be in a relationship, if there was a woman that I was really interested in, which there is one really special person, right? But if she didn't like me or doesn't like me for who I am and the stuff that I do, she can go. I don't. Then I would automatically think she's fucking dumb, right? Like you like like how could you not that I don't do fucking stupid shit to people. I'm not out there in the world. I'm not robbing, stealing, killing, bullying. Like I'm not in general, I'm just not being a jerk. I keep to myself and I do interesting things. And I know that the stuff that I do is objectively interesting because there are industries and fandoms for all the stuff that I do. I didn't choose it for that. I really just am genuinely interested in that stuff. Like there's fandom for science, specifically in physics, like the Neil deGrasse Tysons in the world, and like how he's with Chuck Nice and has Star Talk, right? Or like the Sabine Hossenfelders, or Christopher Birkenbein, who has a dash of science, or Brian Greene, who was one of the first science, uh, the science communicators that I really been following since at least 2004. So 22 years. And they've got a kind of celebrity on their own. Lots of scientists. Everybody knows who Albert Einstein is, right? So physics is kind of sexy, quantum physics, right? Like so, it has a whole fandom all on its own. So I objectively know that one of the things that I'm really interested in and well versed to a certain extent in, there's that's actually cool. It's actually interesting. Philosophy. A lot of people talk about Aristotle and Descartes and Hegel and Schopenhauer and Leibniz and you know like there's a lot of people. There's a guy, um, Pangburn, who had this whole Pangburn group on when Colin was a thing, and I got to talk and hang out with those guys. And he's got a whole YouTube thing, and he's held one of the largest or longest like philosophy debates online, whatever. Like, and he's still moving and shaking. There's a fandom, and there's a whole cool industry about philosophy. What about spirituality? Well, there's so many gurus, a bunch of them fake and nonsense out there. JP Sears is one who really exposes a lot of that stuff and has been doing it for years. But that's a whole thing with people with their crystals and their incense and their chakras and the yoga and all this other stuff like that, right? So all of that, I'm in it. That there's a whole industry. So automatically I objectively know that the things that I'm actually interested in and good at, there's a whole fandom, a whole industry. It's not like I'm living in isolation and doing things that are really too weird out there. And then music, almost everybody, everywhere you go, people are bumping music in their car, going out to clubs to dance to music, talking about their favorite songs and their favorite artists. I actually just happen to be more than a fan of music. I hardly even know who most of the people in most of the bands that I listen to are. Some people might say, "Oh, you're a poser because of it." No, it's just I don't know who a bunch of them are. There's a very few of them that I know. Because guess what? I'm very busy writing my own lyrics, giving titles to my own songs, composing lyrics, writing poems, writing melodies, harmonies, rhythms, playing the instruments, recording them, dancing to them, singing to them, yelling to them, and doing it myself. Everybody loves music. People, there's rock stars and rap stars and all that out there. People love music. It's not like I'm doing something that's out there crazy, right? Not except I'm just making my own martial arts. The hell, I'm I can at least do some really damn cool athletic stuff. I've been in hundreds of fights. I've been in the ring, amateur tough man competitions, fought out in Asia, so on and so forth. I've just sparred dozens of people, trained with lots of people all over literally all over the world. Not that many places. A lot of places in Asia and all over the United States, Canada, Mexico. I don't want to exaggerate too much, right? But and I'm still doing it. I haven't stopped. There's a whole fandom for that. There's all these MMA organizations, UFC being the most popular one. There's one fighting championship. There's I forget. There's other ones I don't remember right now, but that's a thing. So, I mean, it's not that difficult. Oh, and people are going to the gym and lifting weights. I mean, I don't really do that much of it. I actually don't even recall the last time I actually really lifted weights. The last time I was in the gym, the one thing that I did was do pull-ups. But so, and how am I doing all this thing? How am I finding the time to do all this stuff? I just schedule it, and I follow my intuition a lot. I know that I move every single day in some way, shape, or form, and I integrate all of my movements into everything I do. Sometimes I run up 10 flights of stairs. Sometimes I it's the way that I carry certain things that are heavy. I walk around a lot. I get out of my car a lot. I stand in the sun and look at the sun. I go to the beach and look at I mean, how am I living? How am I doing? I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, dude, you do a lot of stuff. Like, how do you get all this stuff done? But I do it. And I mean, there's so many videos and photos on my phones that I've never published that are proof of it. But there's also a whole lot of stuff also online as well. And I'm stream of consciousness talking without a script. As you can tell, I got a little bit excited, and I don't have to make this stuff up. That's what happens when you're really living your life and doing things. So be bold, get up and do things, and stop worrying about permission or about asking permission for other people to do stuff. There's so many resources now in books, online, and in various other different medium and places to go and people you can talk to where you can learn all of this stuff. But you just have to start somewhere and then do it. And the people that you are able to communicate with are automatically going to be interesting. And of course, there's a few things that you want to do, like this is a monologue. I don't do like this with people that I meet, and I also am able to read the room, right? Sometimes I do go off a little bit, but it's because somebody's egging me on. But I'm also pretty aware of people, and I'm also actually interested in people, so I ask them just as many questions. And unless most of these people are just talking shit behind my back, which I'm sure that a great deal of them are, a lot of people, I'm pretty well received almost everywhere that I go. So I have my haters and I have my lovers. I have my fans and I have my adversaries. And it's a-okay. That's what life is. No, not everybody's going to love you. You don't need to be a sycophant. Let AI handle that. And again, that's one of the points that was made here. Allow your voice to be amplified, create from who you are, document your journey, share with other people. And as long as you're doing things that are actually valuable to you, that's helping you, and you can share that with other people because you know that a certain amount of people are going to be helped. If something helped you, there's a chance that it's going to help other people. And you share it, you can stand out in this massive, overwhelming sea of AI slop. And this right here is proof of that. I'm Hakeem Ali Bokas Alexander.